What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to explain this soft reboot with the Arkham title. Now, we've had a couple of videos over the last couple of weeks kind of going over all of the leaks that were said a few weeks ago about it being a soft reboot, about it being coming out this fall 2020, all that kind of stuff. We have a lot of people that very consistently watch these videos, and I greatly appreciate you guys. And so, for you guys, you're already all caught up. I suggest if you haven't been caught up, please go and do so. We've made lots of videos talking about lots of things Arkham related, but here's the deal. Here's honestly the deal, and here's a big thing with me. There's a lot, and I teased this on Friday's video, which was also a big one. Go check that out if you missed it. I teased this on Friday. There's a lot of miscommunication. I think just a lot of not knowing what a soft, and you know what? That's fine, because honestly, there's a lot of people in the comments that even told me, like, hey, what's the soft reboot mean? Like, what do you think that actually means? Can you explain it? And thank you, honestly, thank you for asking me that, because it's, firstly, that's great that you want to know, and secondly, there's so much miscommunication, like I said in Friday's video, about the soft reboot in general. Namely, I don't go after people, I'm not going after him, but this James Sigfield, we've talked about him before, notable leaker, has gotten things right, has gotten things wrong. I don't like the way he's been advertising it, and he kind of backtracks on his own things, which we've actually have said in the past that he's backtracked on things that he said. And hey, maybe he's a nice guy, maybe he even sees some of these videos. Totally cool. But here's what he said. Somebody asked him, are we talking about brand new fighting and traversal system unlike what we are used to? If you have any details like that, of course. Those things will remain, but the story and plot itself will be in a new continuity. Soft reboot seemed like the best way to put it. Now, also, the media itself is spinning this into some weird thing where if you go search this game up now, if you type in just Batman Arkham on Google, you're going to get loads of articles saying Arkham is being rebooted. And that's it. That's what you'll see in the title. And so if you see that, you're going to think, oh my God, I mean, they're restarting entirely. Now, I do agree with James here, but some of the other stuff he says is a little suspect. I'm not going to necessarily go in. Again, I don't want to attack the guy. I more or less want to clarify things and explain what I think this all means. So a soft reboot is pretty much like this, and take this, again, with a grain of salt. You don't have to believe me, and this is just my interpretation of what a soft reboot is, but it's kind of like a pick and choose of what you want to keep, okay, from the original stuff. So what he's saying about the combat and stuff like that, do not think of this new Batman game as an entire reboot, okay? Don't think of it as like an entirely new style. The combat, I mean, it's going to be top down, right? It's going to be like a whole different game. It's not. That's not what a soft reboot means. Pretty much a soft reboot just means that some things are going to stay and some things are going to be taken out. And the things that are going to be taken out mainly will be story related. However, they are not going to be everything. Now, this does play, and I actually teased this in some videos last week. This plays into some of my biggest questions about the future of this game. I think I actually talked about it on the live stream as well, which fascinates me because here's the deal. So soft reboot means story elements, some of them could have happened and some of them could not have happened. So take, for example, Arkham Asylum. In this new game, it's possible, one way or the other, that Arkham Asylum did and did not happen, or did not happen. Not that it's a different universe, but that they're just going to kind of forget that. And when it comes to it kicking off a new, and my question is, what specific elements are going to be kept and what specific elements are going to be left behind? And again, I'm mainly talking about story because combat, it's going to be the same, okay? Now, obviously, there's going to be improvements, stuff like that. We've talked, even in the comments of past videos, about parkour, like if you play as Robin or whoever, right? Some Bat family member, instead of having them just glide around the city, maybe you have them do more like Spider-Man things, right? We talked about how they should do things Spider-Man did, but do it even better. You can't have everybody just gliding around, so maybe you have them do parkour elements and do flips off of buildings and stuff like that, right? So the gameplay is going to get improved. The gameplay is going to, stay relatively the same, but things are going to be added and changed, okay? So I'm not necessarily talking about the gameplay, but again, story elements, my biggest one, this is a question, this is kind of like a side off that I definitely want to make a video of once it's kind of been confirmed, once we see the game and we know what's been reworked. I think this video would work. I don't want to kind of waste it right now, is the Joker. What becomes of the Joker? Mainly, does he still die if it's a soft reboot? Because again, if it's a soft reboot, they don't have to do the Arkham Asylum City Night thing. Now, those games still exist, and those games are amazing. Those games will always be amazing. Even Night, a lot of parts of Night are really, really good. But You don't have to do those things. And again, my answer, like, to quickly just throw it out there with you guys, I don't think they would go the path that Asylum City and Night happened 100%. Because again, if this is going to kick off a new universe, I guess they could do it two ways. One, the new universe or the expanded universe, Rocksteady's game. If they make any other standalone superhero games, or I talked about maybe they could be doing a Wonder Woman game, whatever. If it's a Justice League game, they could try to fit it in the confines of in between Origins and Asylum. Batman's part of the Justice League in between it, but then he leaves it, and then Arkham Asylum City Night happens, and then, the end of Night happens, and then, the Damian Wayne thing or the, Batman Beyond stuff that they were actually going to make, we can kind of just imagine that happens after Night, okay? But that's the timeline. So they could do that. They could fit the next 10 years of DC games in between the timeline of Arkham Origins and Arkham Asylum. That is totally, and they could keep all the continuity that they already have in there. However, Soft Reboot does kind of suggest they're doing it a little bit different. Soft Reboot suggests, yeah, maybe Arkham Asylum happened, but not everything happened in there. And maybe, like, again, certain story elements, maybe they, Joker maybe didn't get infected, and he probably didn't die. Because if you want this to continue, and you want to make Justice League games, and you want to make different Batman games, you want to make spin-off games of these kind of things, like all those kind of things, you want to have a fresh start. And I understand that, okay? Maybe some people don't want that, and I could see both angles. When this game was first announced, if you recall, if you've been with me since August, firstly, you're the absolute best. But secondly, if you recall, my opinion of this game has always been this. I kind of wanted it to be like the last Batman game. Like, put a game in between Origins and Asylum, make one more Arkham game, and then probably call it. You could then restart the franchise. You could make spin-off games. You could do a Justice League game. Maybe it could take place in the same universe, but do other things. That's honestly always been my approach, but now it feels like, and again, I think I said this in the live stream last week, it feels like they're doing both, where it's like, okay, the Arkham that you were, and listen to me, that's why it's a soft reboot, because the Arkham name is still there, and people would say, well, if it's and that's the thing too, because when you see the title, all these titles in the media, oh, it's a reboot, well, then why is it called Arkham? Well, it's not a reboot, it's a soft reboot, so you keep the name, because the name has power. People know when you go into the store, and not everybody does, and things get more digital nowadays, but people still recognize the name Arkham. You still have memories. You're more inclined to buy this game because it has Arkham. I'm telling you, that's just a thing that they know. So that is part of the reason it's Arkham, and that does go into full-on reboot, where we scrap everything and it's just a Batman game, and we start from scratch, and it's all this stuff, and then a soft reboot, which is things still happen. We're still in the same universe, but we're going to pick and choose what we want to keep and what we want to just say never happened, and we're going to ignore it, okay? Now, that also throws into question voice actors, and I do agree with that. There's no guarantee now that Kevin Conroy or Roger Craig Smith, now we know, I guess if we trust people, we know Kevin Conroy isn't doing it. Roger Craig Smith has never, to my knowledge, outright said, like, he's never been asked. Nobody's, I think, asked him that, though. So he could still be Batman, but honestly, they could go just a random third person. They really could. They could just pick a brand new. So things like that is what you should expect to change. Okay, the combat, those kind of things, how the game functions, that'll probably relatively stay the same. Maybe the atmosphere, just how, I was replaying Arkham Asylum the other day, and it's got its own feel to it, right? Like the feeling and the atmosphere of Arkham Asylum is very much like what to expect from it. And really, they kind of keep it for all three of them, and even Arkham Origins to an extent too, right? But when it comes to this, maybe they lighten it up a little bit. Maybe it is a little bit more like Spider-Man, because Spider-Man works so well, and maybe they want to take some stuff. Again, it's just speculation, but maybe they change things up. But for the most part, especially because it will probably be the same engine, just like reworked a little bit. And again, all these mechanics, you're not going to completely redo from scratch. I absolutely, especially because, again, the rumors of Warner Bros. Is if you want to make a Superman game for them, it's got to feel like Arkham. So they already have the mentality of these superhero games have kind of all have to kind of feel like those really good Batman games. Maybe because they don't feel comfortable branching out too far, which I think should eventually change, and that is a big problem, but I get where they're coming from. So those kind of things should remain the same. Again, soft reboot, and a lot of you may already know this. I maybe should have said that in the beginning. A lot of you guys probably already know this, but I just want to, just for people that are just jumping in or see misleading headlines or don't know what a soft reboot is in the first place, which it's not bad or not wrong to not know it. The only thing it really means is they're going to pick and choose what they want to keep and what they want to get rid of. Now, what that is, I can't tell you. Okay, so if you were coming here in this video to be like, oh, I want to know what specifically they're going to forget about, I can't tell you that. The thing that I will make the prediction of for you, again, the number one thing is Joker. What they do with Joker in general. And the negative is I don't think we would figure that out in this game, though, right? Because I still think this game is going to be, even though it's a soft reboot, and even though, again, they're going to pick and choose, I think generally it would be before Asylum. Like, Batman would still be relatively younger than he was in Asylum. However, what could happen is maybe there's time jumps, or maybe there's characters that get introduced into it that make events in Asylum seem like, I don't know how that could necessarily happen after the events of this game. So things like that could happen, and we could figure that out, and based off of that, we could say, well, it doesn't seem like the game's timeline is going to Asylum, so they're probably not, they're probably ignoring that. Maybe they just want to get that out. So, like, things like that, I think we will be able to figure out, and that will have ramifications. Characters can be brought back, new characters can come in, different characters can be substituted in that otherwise couldn't be. There's a lot of possibilities. A soft reboot is actually the best option for this game franchise, and I didn't think of it when they first announced this game. Again, I just assumed this would be the last one, and then they could kind of branch out, and instead, they're, in my opinion, quite honestly, just from, like, on paper, I mean, this could totally be terrible when it happens, but on paper, it seems like they're still doing that. They're giving us another Arkham game, but we're going to play as other people and maybe not so much as Batman, and it's going to, again, start a universe where we can have a Justice League game, where we can have a Wonder Woman game, where we can have a Superman game, where we can have a Flash game, where we can have another, like an Arkham 2, but now we're really starting to separate ourselves from Origins, Asylum, City, Night, right? That's where this game is heading. So, honestly, it's kind of doing everything you would hope for it to do, because it could still fit in the timeline, maybe not perfectly, but it'll feel recognizable, maybe is the word, but at the same time, it's trying to start something new, and that's pretty much, in a nutshell, what a soft reboot is please the fans that remember what it's part of, but also get it ready and get it moving towards, like, a new future. That's pretty much what movies, television, all that kind of stuff, that's what a classic soft reboot is, and hopefully Batman can do it right. Okay, so I hope I explained it well enough. I hope this was a really fun video to record, but let me know in the comments below, guys, what do you think? Do you agree with me? Let me know. Make sure you guys, as always, subscribe to this YouTube channel, hit the bell icon. You guys truly, truly rock. There'll be more videos every couple days on the channel talking about Batman Arkham. Keep those suggestions coming. You guys have been doing truly awesome with them. I'll be trying to sprinkle in some of them if there's not anything else to talk about, but definitely keep those suggestions coming, guys, okay? Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.